February 11th, 1979. A date that marks a seismic shift, not just for a nation, but for the entire world. This is the story of the Iranian Revolution. For nearly 4 decades, Iran was ruled by Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi. He was a powerful monarch, immensely wealthy, and a key ally of the United States and the West. Under his leadership, known as the White Revolution, Iran embarked on a path of rapid modernization. Skyscrapers pierced the Tehran skyline, industries boomed, and Western culture became fashionable. But this glittering surface hid a dark reality. Democracy was not part of the plan. Political opposition was systematically crushed. Dissenting voices, students, writers, activists were arrested, tortured, or simply disappeared. The Shah's infamous secret police, SAVAK, cultivated an atmosphere of pervasive fear, while a small elite, closely tied to the royal court, amassed unimaginable fortunes from the country's oil wealth. Millions of ordinary Iranians were left behind, struggling with economic hardship and feeling alienated from their own culture. A quiet anger began to simmer beneath the surface, spreading through university campuses, factory floors, bazaars, and religious circles. It united secular intellectuals, left-wing students, and devout Muslims in a common cause. In this climate of repression, religion became the most powerful language of resistance. And from his exile, first in Iraq and then in a small village outside Paris, a charismatic figure emerged as the undisputed leader of this growing opposition, Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini. His fiery sermons, recorded on simple cassette tapes, were smuggled into Iran and circulated from hand to hand, from mosque to mosque. His message was potent and clear, a call for social justice, an end to corruption, and complete freedom from American and Western domination, all framed within a powerful vision of Islamic governance. He spoke to the soul of a nation yearning for identity and dignity. By 1978, the simmering anger erupted into massive, nationwide protests. The streets of Tehran, Tabriz, and other major cities filled with millions of demonstrators demanding the Shah's removal. The government's response was brutal. Security forces opened fire on unarmed crowds, turning protests into massacres. But the violence only fueled the movement. In a cycle that became known as the 40-day cycle of mourning, each funeral for a slain protester would turn into another massive demonstration 40 days later, creating new martyrs and perpetuating the defiance. The Shah's once invincible military, composed of the sons of the very people they were ordered to shoot, began to show signs of hesitation. Soldiers started to defect, handing their weapons to the revolutionaries. The very foundation of the monarchy was cracking. Facing a total collapse of his authority on January 16, 1979, the Shah and his family boarded a plane and fled Iran, officially for a vacation. He hoped his absence would calm the storm and allow a moderate civilian government to take control. It was a fatal miscalculation. The storm did not pass. It intensified. 2 weeks later, on February 1st, Ayatollah Khomeini's chartered flight from Paris touched down at Tehran's Mehrabad airport. His return was a moment of pure national euphoria. An estimated 5 million people poured into the streets to welcome him, one of the largest gatherings in human history. For 10 days, Iran existed in a state of dual power, the Shah's appointed government on one side, and Khomeini's Revolutionary Council on the other. The final act came on February 11th. The Supreme Military Council declared its neutrality, effectively ordering all soldiers back to their barracks. It was the final nail in the coffin of 2,500 years of Persian monarchy. The government collapsed. Revolutionaries took over television stations and government buildings, and political prisoners were freed. Iran was swiftly declared an Islamic republic. For its supporters, it was a moment of glorious liberation, a triumph of faith, national will, and freedom from a tyrannical, foreign-backed regime. For its critics, and for many who had marched in the streets, it marked the beginning of a new form of authoritarianism, trading a king's crown for a cleric's turban. The consequences were immediate and profound. Everything changed. Women's rights, social freedoms, the legal system, and Iran's relationship with the rest of the world. The revolution didn't just transform a single country. It redrew the geopolitical map of the Middle East, directly challenged decades of American influence in the region, and sent shockwaves that inspired or alarmed governments from North Africa to Southeast Asia, love it or fear it. The events of February 1979 were far more than just a change of government. It was the dramatic, contentious, and world-altering rebirth of a nation, determined to forge its own path on its own terms. This was the Iranian Revolution. Thanks for watching. If you found this documentary insightful, please like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the events that shaped our world.